Hello, I'm Larry Lipkus. I'm a professor of music at Moravian College in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
I'm Peter Wolny. I'm the Deputy Director of the Bach Archive and the head of the research department.
Michael Morrison, Professor of Music at Swarthmore College in Philadelphia.
I'm George Stauffer. I'm Dean of the Mason Gross School of the Arts and Professor of Music History at Rutgers University.
So we're going to be talking about the B minor Mass by Bach, and I'd just like to start by posing the question, since the Mass is generally universally acknowledged to be one of the great masterworks of Western civilization. It has a very unusual and kind of complex history, that it was written over the course of 15 years and contains music that was written years before that. So it's in some ways a kind of assemblage or a patchwork of pieces. And how it was such a complex history, how is it that we can make sense of this work as a whole? Maybe, Peter, you'd like to speak to that?
Well, it's a miracle in a way, and it points us to the fact that Bach's music, in general, from his early time in Weimar up until the latest years of his life, was relatively stable, so that Bach had a continuity in his musical style that made it possible to assemble works from different periods of his artistic life, and they work well together.
Yeah, I think also it's this particular genre, the Mass, and the Neapolitan Mass from Dresden was what they called a stile misto, a mixed style, and that allowed him to take different stylistic aspects from his own oeuvre, the early style, the Baroque style, the later style, and put them together into one piece. And that gives it a sense of universality in itself, this combination of styles.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I would add to that is that most of Bach's large collections are arranged from earlier pieces that might have been individual elements that are then brought together. I mean, the Brandenburg Concertos is a particularly good example, I think, where they may be written over a relatively long period and seem very different from each other. Mm-hmm. And so they might not have been composed in that order with the idea of number one being number one and number two being number two, but then once you have a repertoire to draw on, you can come up with a nice set of six where they do really make sense together as a collection that adds up, where one and one and one and one and one adds up to more than six. Was that 6 ones? However many.